Did not think I was going to be up here, so thank you. I didn't even know I had a question until that last moment.
Yeah, we saw it hatch in you. We saw the look on your face, and the look was, wait a minute.
Yeah, absolutely. So in the asking for something, if you focus on it too hard, the not having it overtakes.
Not necessarily. It's what your current, up to now, in this moment, it's what your practiced frequency about it is. In other words, it's what your current belief about it is.
So I've been practicing, the best word I can come up with is detachment, where I look at something and go, that's neat, and then I go and do whatever brings me the most joy at that moment.
Here's the thing. If you look at the emotional scale, can you put it up again and zoom in if you can on the tipping point?
Right. Contentment. Yeah, that's where I've been sitting at.
Right here between boredom and contentment, there's a sort of tipping point. Well, what that tipping point is from 22, fear, grief, insecurity is 21, jealousy 20. In the book that is nearly finished, there's a new section on the emotional guidance scale with many, 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 many more emotions in these categories. There are endless emotions, but it'll make it a broader way for you to feel your way through things, we think. So up to hatred and revenge and anger and so forth, as you work your way up, when you get overwhelmment, frustration, pessimism, boredom, when you get to boredom on your way into contentment, that's where path of least resistance was happening. And now when you get there, since there is almost no resistance in boredom and not any in contentment, now it's the path of more allowance all the way up. So when you think about it, the path of less resistance and the path of more allowance really are the same path. But if you're feeling more resistance, that's when you want detachment. But you don't want detachment when you're feeling more allowance. In other words, you don't want to detach from satisfaction. That's when you want to turn on the gas and make it go. But if you're not feeling so good, then it's nice to distract yourself if you can. That's why meditation is a good process no matter what, because when you quiet your mind, you stop thought. And when you stop thought, you stop all thought. When you stop all thought, you stop all resistant thought. And now in that no thought, your vibration can rise also. When you say, I'm not going to think about that thing, you're thinking about that thing that you're not going to think about. I'm not going to think about that anymore. Well, you're thinking about it while you're not going to think about it. And often, in the effort to not think about it, it backfires on you because you're focused on it. And so that's why, instead of asking you to make a list of positive aspects, which we've been doing for a very long time, because we watched so many of you wanting to make a list of positive aspects, so you pick someone who is really bugging the life out of you, and you try to force yourself to feel good about them. And all that happens is that everything that bugs you about them gets bigger. Because you're saying positive words in order to counteract negative feelings. It's like you're trying to fix it by pushing against it. You don't mean to, and it doesn't happen every time, but there's a real tendency. So then we said, instead of making a list of positive aspects, let's look for easy, already existing matches. And so sometimes you can't find any if you're looking at that person. You have to step back into all of humanity to find them. But the whole point is to find something that causes you to calibrate to alignment with your inner being. Then the tipping point does happen. You feel more and more and more.
So I've been trying to do that, where when something bothers me, I go, well, what's working? And just run down that path. Instead of looking at the gap, look at the gain, like, oh, there's that, and there's that, and there's that.
What kind of things, can you give us an example of something that comes up pretty frequently like that?
That is working or not working?
Something where you recognize that you're feeling a little resistance, and you're able to detach from the resistance.
When my son frustrates me, I come home and his socks are stuffed in the sofa. And it just, every day. And then I remember, wait a minute.
Okay, so let's clean that up a little bit. When I focus on something and I feel frustration, rather than when my son frustrates me. Because when you say, when my son frustrates me, then that begs for a different behavior from your son. So now you're in the controlling mode where you have to control a condition in order to change the way you feel.
Right.
I'm focused on something that I'm frustrated about. So does that mean this thing has to change so that I don't feel frustration? Or does it mean I can focus on things that are not frustrating in nature? That's the difference, isn't it? That's why so many people are trying to control so many people. It's because you believe that their actions bring this response from you and that you have no control other than having that response. But you have endless control over how you feel because you have the ability to look at things in a way that feel better to you. And the more you look, so you could say, all right, so I'm going to make a list of easy existing matches about my son. Well, there are so many. But it doesn't change the fact that you don't want him to leave his socks in the sofa. And so, even though you try to think all of these other things, why does he keep leaving his socks? And things like that. And so, when you stop asking the question about why anything is the way that it is, and you think of the plethora of things that you have to choose from, and you realize that your point of attraction is your point of attraction, and it doesn't have anything to do with what anybody else is doing. Seems like it does, because I felt good until you did that, and when you did that, then I don't feel good. So it feels like it follows that you need to stop doing that, except that then you don't have any control over that. You know why he stuffs them in the sofa? Because you didn't like it when you found them on the floor. And there are many other places where those socks could be stuffed if he believes that his role in life is pleasing you. So what do? You get blindsided by, I've told you about this so many times or whatever it is, and then you think, that's not getting me anywhere. And then you think, well, I'm just going to make a list of easy existing matches. Well, right then, you might not feel like that either, because this is what we really want you to hear. You were always in some sort of reception before you found the socks. The worse mood you're in, the more you're going to find things you don't want to see.
Yeah, it's true, because the other day I saw those socks and I laughed. Yeah, it is always me.
It's you, but it's co-creation too, isn't it? So what's your goal with your children? You want to demonstrate, because you don't teach through your words or your rules, you teach through your example. So you want to demonstrate that you're steady in the way you feel no matter what. Let's say you are frustrated by that, and you pick them up, and your child is right there, and you say something, and they're responding now to what you're saying. And then you say, now wait a minute. I don't feel good right now, and I want to blame it on this, and maybe I should, you little brat. But bottom line is, I want to feel good, and I don't want you to have to do particular things in order for me to feel good. That was me before. That's what I used to think. I used to think that you needed to just be the best kid in the whole world and then I'd be happy all the time. That's not fair to you, and it's not fair to me. Because you're going to do what you're going to do. You're going to follow your guidance, and you know what my guidance is telling me right now? I'm just going to tuck these socks right back there where they were, and I'm going to go in the other room, and I'm going to use the power of my own mind to focus myself into feeling good. And I'm going to find it. And it's not going to be dependent on you doing something. I'm letting you off the hook. I'm taking responsibility for the way I feel. And I really like the life that we're having together. And there's so many things that I love about playing with you. These socks isn't one of them. But sure not important enough for me to lose my connection over either. And really not important enough for me to now make you lose connection. I don't want to drive you into gangster mode of lying to please me or hiding things to please me. I want that relationship to be between you, and I need that relationship to be between me and me. So you're off the hook. I don't know how long it's going to last. I don't know how long I can stay in a good mood, but you're good, kid. Now get your socks out of there, and I'm going to go get feeling better. Then go get feeling better. Demonstrate that over and over again. Don't pretend you're happy when you're not, and don't pretend it's okay when it's not okay. You got to take care of yourself. Jerry and Esther had a hardwood floor in the house they built in San Diego, and it was so fragile they had no idea. It was walnut. And when the people were cleaning it right before they moved in, their vacuum had a roller on it that wasn't padded right. And as the lovely woman dragged it through the house, she scratched the floor everywhere the vacuum went. So before they even moved in, they refinished the floors to make them slightly more durable, but not completely durable. And so they were in Hawaii, and they found this beautiful little plaque, a tile, and they set it right at the front door, and it says, please remove your shoes. Well, someone came to the door, and Esther invited them in, and after they left, Jerry said, how come you didn't ask them to take off their shoes? And Esther said, it felt weird. I didn't want them to feel weird. They were halfway in. I didn't want them to feel bad. And Jerry said, so you don't mind living with the scratches on your floor? You'd rather save their feelings while you negatively impact yours? And Esther thought, I'm really going to have to think about that, because Esther was not used to asking anybody to do very much to keep her happy. Esther's sort of wired the other way, which doesn't work very well either. Esther will put herself out for them and then resent it in the darkness. Damn. You'd think they'd think about that. One guy just stood in one spot on the floor, and as they stood and talked, he just wiggled his foot around and just made hieroglyphics all over the floor. It's like hidden words from the universe. And if Esther were to interpret them really well, it was, ask them to take their shoes off, you dummy. You're worried about what other people think. And so you've got that sensitivity. That's what we mean when we say you're born calibrators. If you get in the shower and it's too hot, you calibrate it before you get your body into it, or if it's too cold. You do that with your physical senses. You like comfort. Comfort is good. Comfort is balance. And you want to be emotionally comfortable. So you have to identify that you'd rather love than hate. You'd rather praise than criticize. You know where your comfort level is. This emotional guidance scale is easy for you to figure out. But if you've been calibrating to others because you want them to like you, rather than for you to have a relationship where you're comfortable with them and they're comfortable with you, then usually those relationships are not very long lasting. You have to know what you want, and you have to calibrate to what you want, and then the law of attraction brings you what you want. So that you could even say, as a flight attendant, training another flight attendant, as you feel the discomfort coming about what this person is saying about this other person, I'm going to have to stop you right there. And he said it so beautifully and so gently and so not critically. Just my comfort requires that we just don't go further with this. Not you're bad and you shouldn't do this, or I'm going to make a note about this that you're a negative person. Nothing even like that. I'm just going to stop you right there. I'd like to stop you right there while you take your shoes off, please, or whatever it is. So you say to your children, I'm going to have to stop you right there as I catch you stuffing your socks into the, yeah, well, maybe that's what you're saying, but what you're really saying is, I'm going to have to stop me right there. I'm nitpicking over something like this and establishing a relationship with my child over something that he's just in the process of becoming about.